And welcome. We're going to be playing dotAge today. This is your first time watching the channel. I am streaming this live to Twitch under the username Willcole, and I will be uploading this to YouTube using the local recording under the username Willcole100. Obviously, basically going to be playing vanilla dotAge. It does have one DLC out. I don't have the DLC. I have played the game before, so this is not going to be a completely brand new run to me or game to me. dotAge is sort of this turn-based sort of strategy game. Obviously, I've played the game, so we're going to be starting on a fresh profile here, just so that you can be as surprised as I am with the content. So we're going to jump into profile C here, which I haven't used, so it's an empty one. 0 times played on this profile, completed 0 of the 9 potential stories at the moment. We've got some recorded items because of some things that you sort of automatically know from the beginning, and we've retrieved 0 memories. Memories are sort of a mechanic of how the game progresses between runs. So it's got that sort of roguelike effect to it. I'm not going to turn the difficulty up very much. We're just going to play on normal difficulty. There are hard, there's harder, there's also challenge. And I have the base game. I don't have the full ways DLCs with us hanging up. We're going to be basically playing on default turn duration, or game duration. We can do fast, we can do slow, we're going to stay on default. So normal default, this is a vanilla, fresh start. So we're going to start as Mateus here. Although there will be RNG, so your starting position will be quite the same. Although, it'll be the same settings. We'll get you get your own valley, is basically what we're going to do. So, Mateus here has basically the following traits. We start in the terrain valley map. He's grumpy, has no patience for lackers. Starting pips starts with 4 pimpkins, starts with some wood and some berries. I suppose it is giving us a warning here that it is a long and merciless game, supposedly. By choosing normal difficulty, we are acknowledging the risk that we may lose multiple times. I'm probably not going to lose, at least not on normal difficulty. Though, if we, on some of the harder elders, or on harder difficulties, I probably would lose. Normal on Mateus here will probably be fine. So running this is basically a story partially told sort of from the perspective of the elder you're playing. So, So this is an example of, let me tell you a story. It begins before any of you were born. So sort of the elder talking about the past days. We had been traveling for days in a strange land. This is the story of how our village was born, the story of how we defeated the prophecy. It all began in the lush, secluded valley that we found after several days of traveling. Just a few more steps, you slackers were almost there. My feet hurt. Oh, I was so young then. I convinced some pips to follow me into the valley. This is it. This is the place I told you about. We have to stop here. You better not be lying about this new life, Elder. Impertinent, follow my example, and all will be well. I'll get to work. We started work straight away on the construction of our village. Thinking this is the first time I'm telling you the story, isn't it? You better pay attention. Okay, so it's pushing me through the tutorial. We are going to, in fact, skip the tutorial. So this is the valley. If we zoom out, we can see the whole valley. So we've got a little bit of a coastal area down here. We've got a couple little lakes or ponds, or however you want to describe them. To put our first place down, we need to start within distance of food. The game is going to force us starting within a distance of some immediately gatherable food. So we got 3 berry bushes here. We got 3 berry bushes there. We got some chickens, 3 berry bushes. A little more spread out here. 1, 1, 1. It looks like for food right now we've got berries, and there are some chickens on the map. Although we don't start with the capacity to hunt the chickens. Thinking of maybe going somewhere like here. I think until we unlock some of the alternative lumber harvesting buildings, one of the upgraded lumber harvesting buildings gives you extra lumber off of having adjacencies with forests. So that's going to be a place for lumber. Well, early on it doesn't really matter, but later in it will be a little bit better. So yeah, we're probably going to go thinking either there or yeah, there. There works pretty well. That allows us to harvest from the 3 berry bushes right away. I got a good place for wood, and I think I got a good place for a housing district. So we'll plop there. So this is a turn-based game. We've basically got 4 agents and our elder here. The elder just tells people what to do. And different elders have different specialties. This is sort of the generic, does everything reasonably well elder. So right off the bat, I'm going to be wanting a wood pile. Gather wood. Our early buildings, we go into the Civilpedia here, have to be built within a certain distance of a building that provides road. So our starting bivouac here provides 3 road, so we can basically build or harvest or work anywhere within 3 tiles of our starting house here. We don't have any science production yet, but this is going to give us an idea for some sort of science we're going to be looking for. So we start with the forager. Oh, and part of the tutorial is it's going to force us to do a specific research. It's going to force us to do crude wells before we can unlock more of the research tree. So we're probably going to want to get started on that soon. So right now we've got about 15 turns worth of food that we can gather here before we run out of food at our current consumption rate. And then we have another 5 pre-stockpiled because we started with 15 or started with 20 berries. So we're obviously going to put 1 person on food so we can start making some food. Building-wise, we start with the forager, start with the lumber, start with the ability to build basic houses, which you can see do provide a little bit of road. And we do start with a thinker's post, which notably hates structure. So this is a building, we use it to generate science. Worker, every turn here will make 1 science, but it gets a penalty of 1 per structure it's adjacent to. So we got to make sure this doesn't get put next to structures, which shouldn't be too hard early on. Yeah, that might become a problem later on. We are going to want to get some science pretty early on, so I'm going to go and plop one of those down for science. That's probably not the best place for it, but that will work in the short term. I'm also going to go ahead and start building a house. We've got food storage of 40. So I'm going to actually try to get a little bit ahead on the... Oh, no, actually, that's all 4 people assigned. Got 1 on food, 1 on building the building to make lumber, 1 on the building to make science, and 1 on the building we need to make more people, as well as house more people. So our starting building holds 4 people, and we have 4 people. So that's why we're going to be building more houses, because we're going to need more than 4 people. Cycle 1 day. So they gather all the resources, and they spend all the upkeep on whatever they're building. And feed all the villagers, obviously. And then you have a night cycle. And during the night, you may have an event. And sometimes you'll have the elder will bring up various different things. So most of the buildings that we just queued up there are immediately completed because they had 1 turn construction time. So we're now making 2 wood a turn. We're making 1 science a turn. The housing building takes 2 turns to build. So we're started on that. Go into the tech tree. Because we're sort of the tutorial, this is the very first run, it's going to hold our hand in a way that maybe as an experienced player I'm not particularly appreciative of, but as a brand new player you might be. We're going to start obviously on the only tech we can research. We're going to start on the crude well. In the future we'll get like, I think it's 3 more, maybe 4 more trees to pick from. So in 4 turns that will be done. Let's cycle the turn again. So now it's trying to teach us about how to make new pips. I do have the ability to signal post, which we could do. What I will do is let's go ahead and start making some pips. So you need 2 available pips to make this, because, you know, it takes 2 to tango. It costs you 1 food, and obviously every pip that exists is going to eat 1 food per turn. So this is going to raise our food upkeep, so we're going to need more food production. But this will also, after a certain number of turns, provide us with more workers. So let's get a 5th worker in the production queue, let's say. So I'm going to go ahead and build a signpost here. So you can see the house provided a road of 1 around it. The signpost, while it doesn't necessarily serve any other purposes, does have a road of 3. So it's going to provide us the ability to build quite a bit more around it. More importantly, I'm building this to expand our catch area for more construction. And I could either gather food or lumber. Let's go with lumber for the moment. We're going to burn down the food stock by a little bit, but that'll be fine. We still only have 4 workers because the little new guy is not going to be a functional laborer for so many turns. There you are. So you can see he's a functional laborer. He will be ready in 3 turns. He's infinite for 3 turns. And for various reasons, infants don't work. Fair enough. Let's go there for the next signpost. So we're going to complete our first technology. Research growth. So it's slowly working us through what's in the tech tree. So it's been 5 turns, so we've depleted the first berry bush. The workers here are smart enough that if you've got another job that's basically the same, they'll just move to the next job. So in this case, this berry bush is empty, so they move to this one. Easy peasy, nothing really confusing there. And a bunch new of techs unlocked, sort of the tutorial working here. So we took a research out of the cultivation tree. It's nice enough to have unlocked the next row in the cultivation tree, so we understand the concept of tilled soil. We have 3 new things we can research here: tilled soil, herb picker, and tomato field. The tomatoes, for example, want to be near the water, so there's a lot of adjacency modifiers that come into play as you get deeper into the game. Or tile modifiers. And it did unlock the growth tree, which you'll notice is going to be the tree that, as we get deeper into it, is going to have all the housing upgrades. So Vivac is sort of the main town center. Cabin's the basic generic commoner housing. And there's also third housing in here. So right now we got no fish, so this is where the fisherman would be sort of hinting at that there is, if you know what you're looking for, there is fish in this game that you can fish. Right now there's just chickens, so we got a hunting tent which can hunt the chickens. This will be a chicken-related building. This will presumably also be a chicken-related building, or at least critter-related building. So this hunts critters, not just chickens, but there's a couple different types of critters. This will probably be the building that cooks the hunted chickens, and so on and so forth. So the moment, you will go for farming. Or do I go for hunting? I'm going to go for farming. Farming, you notice there's season in the game. So farming, this crop can be farmed spring, summer, and autumn. Winter's far enough away, I'm not too concerned about winter coming. We will probably want hunting before winter. So let's start working towards the tomato field. And obviously you want some sort of other food source prior to, you know, running out of berries. Because with our expansion here, we've gone ahead and got ourselves another 20 berries worth of gathering capacity. Of course, that's only enough to feed everyone for 4 turns. It's going to take 5 turns to harvest it. So you'll be ready in 2... I think we're going to go for another house. So we can get the population growing and the growth going a little bit faster. And early on here, things are pretty easy. We're just sort of building up the village. The story hasn't sort of introduced the sort of main antagonist yet. Although it probably will do soon. Okay. The house built, we've also got 2 available pips, so I'm going to be investing these people into making more people. And then we'll probably have 1 continuing to build. We'll put a second one on food generation. I think it's usually day 10 where it introduces the game's sort of antagonist, if that makes sense. So we should get an introduction to that on the next starting turn. Oh, maybe it's the next turn. Okay, so we got another 2 villagers as infants that will help boost population. I am going to expand food production by putting a second villager on making berries. So instead of food going down, food will start going up. And then we're going to be working towards, expansion-wise, getting more of those gatherables, while the research group does research, let's say. And by research group, the single researcher. He's got a job. He's going to be made to do that job for a bit. Okay, here's the introduction to it. So one of the things in this game is basically we've come here to sort of defeat the prophecy. The prophecy is the village is doomed. So here's our first apocalyptic vision. I remember it vividly. So every once in a while we'll have events. Most of the unavoidable ones are not good. The avoidable ones, if you can avoid them, become good. The visions came to me, they saw the future. The world is doomed, the apocalypse is coming. You brought us here to die? Don't be stupid. We are here for a reason. We can stop this. Let me tell you about my prophecy. According to what I saw, we will encounter many events in the near future. And basically gives us a upcoming list of events. And a doom event awaits us at the end. We must prepare for it. So these are the events. You can see basically number of days. So we're it's showing some day 10 here. I guess maybe it's one of the days is counted as day 0. We've got an upcoming omen. We got an upcoming unknown event. We got an upcoming season change. So it's going to move from spring to summer. We got an unforeseen unknown event. And then we have the doom event. Now, from experience, I know, you notice there's 4 columns here. The dooms, let's say, come in 4 flavors. We've got, I think this is hope, weather, sort of disease / health, and religion, let's say. So you can offset some of these. So this is sort of despair / hope. This is one, right? So I think in your first run, the major doom, the major antagonist, will always be sort of despair. So you've got to overcome the despair of the impending apocalypse. Although we aren't going to be spared the others, we are going to have to deal with disease. We are going to have to deal with the weather, which is either hot and cold, depending upon the season, and we are going to have to sort of deal with sort of the religious aspects. But initially, and the major one here is going to be hope. Disrespectful fool, you're calling me a liar. Work hard and the dooms can be defeated. This is what I saw. I may have accidentally skipped over reading one of those, but it was up there long enough. You probably could have read it yourself. If you pause. And now that you all know about the prophecy, we need to work hard to survive. So this is the first one we've got to deal with. I said despair. It's fear. So it's hope versus fear. I see we have been cursed. An omen is coming for us. Something bad is going to happen. So in so many number turns, we're going to have a fear, didn't we? We're going to have our first omen. In this case, it's going to be a fear, hope omen. It will be bad. It won't be good. And there's nothing we can do nothing we can do to avoid the omen. On the other hand, the omen's usually fairly minor. After we have the omen, however, so many turns later, we will have the unknown event. The event we can stop, quote unquote. If you generate enough hope, you basically get the good event, good version, right? So right now we got a 50-50 chance of getting the good event versus the bad event. As we get closer to that bad event, it's going to start ticking up. I believe this is fear, so it's going to technically start ticking up fear. We can protect against that with hope. Of course, this may be a question of how much do we rush to do that, especially seeing as we don't have the building to do that yet. So we do need to do more research to get access to the building we need to avoid that circumstance. But our road maker is gonna, or our signpost maker is gonna keep going making signposts. We are on the last of the berries, so we are on a little bit of a rush to get to more food. Although I've got about 4 turns before we run out of food. And we'll get more workers in that amount of time, so we'll have more options. So a major part of the early rush in this game is generating the options to deal with the problems that you need. Planting. So it's introducing a sort of the concept of planting and education, and I don't think the tomato field needs the special farmer research variant. Okay. So in there it was also saying, we don't have the variant yet, but later on there'll be a variant to the well. So they're not all just crude wells, there's some variants in there. So, tomato field. And we have been given access to education. Okay, it's going to spam some of the... Memories are things we've been introduced to us. And then we've got construction here as well. I'm just going to do that again. So construction tab obviously has the upgrade to things like, how do you make more wood? How do you make stone? How do you make tools out of wood and or stone? Potentially the upgrade of the signpost, which we haven't unlocked. Clearing is a better sort of terrain for buildings that need sort of prepared ground, that sort of stuff. And we're now deep enough into growth that we can see Tier 2 housing, which, notably the Tier 2 housing, you can kind of see that the background looks like the clearing. That's because it needs to be built on clearing. And you would obviously need clearing research before you build it. Oh, interesting. One of the things I haven't unlocked is we haven't unlocked hope. So we may be rushing around trying to get hope early on. Not having access to hope to research, I'm going to go ahead and pick up tilled soil. That combos pretty well with farms. Because transforms to fertile soil. Fertile soil provides 1.5 extra food on crops. Tomato field is a crop. So if we've already got the +1 water bonus on the tomato field, so it's 4 tomatoes times 1.5, that'll be 6 tomatoes. That's much better than getting 3 if you didn't get any of the bonuses. And again, we're building over to the berry bushes over there, the berry bushes over here. I suppose we can check what the berry bushes are. I think the berry bushes just considered plants, yeah. So they're not considered crops, so they wouldn't benefit from killing the soil into them, which is something we could do, and I think it is something that did buff them in the past. It might just been nerfed in the time since I played it. And of course, your map is randomly generated, so you might want to expand on it differently than I am. And not all the hexes are the same. For example, this is generic flat ground. This one, however, has underground water, so this is probably going to be a good place to say put the well. And one of our pips did grow up, so we've got a 5th pip to do stuff with. I'm going to have him start on building the well. And the well takes 2 turns to build. A little bit more of an advanced building. Okay, so next turn we'll have access to 15 more charges of berries, which is good because next turn we'll need more berries. We'll also have access to another available pip. I'm going to have him start on getting us a forager. We may not use the forager right away, but I'm going to get a forager built. The forager has 1 of 3 recipes it can do. It can make a little bit of hemp, can make some seeds, or it can make some berries. Although you can see it's only making 2 berries. But it's not consuming a resource charge, so you could technically be making that regardless of season. It's just not very, worker efficient. So we're just going to pop one of those out. Obviously that's because the tomato fields are going to require seeds. So I'm going to get some seeds from there, we're going to get some water from the well, and we can set some farms up. That one's empty. It didn't automatically sign because technically we didn't have the berry bush at the turn end when it emptied. So I can just assign them manually. That will work. You already fielding to get hemp. We're going to probably want seeds. You're defaulting to making food, or making water. And I suppose we technically don't have the tilled soil. I'm still thinking we're going to plant this. So on tomato field here, you can actually see there's sort of 2 recipes. So the first recipe is the recipe for planting a field. So you plant a field, it costs 2 water, 3 seeds, and it takes 5 turns. Though luckily the worker only needs to work for 1 of those. After those 5 turns are up, you'll then have a tomato field, which has 5 charges that produce tomatoes. By default, it's 3. It's +1 if it's next to a water maker. and then as we brought up with the tilled field, a tilled field increases the food production by 50%. So we're going to start getting these planted. Right now they're only going to be 4 food next to our well here, but that's as efficient as the berries are right now. So that's still better than probably just gathering berries out of the forest. And we're going to suffer our first omen event here. Hopefully the music in the background audio is not too high. It got louder than when I was testing the volume earlier. So here's our omen event. So we got one person wandering about, hearing a scary noise out in the forest. Which is causing fear, and they are they're now been labeled a coward, and they're stunned. So they're going to be unable to do anything for 3 turns, although we still have to feed them. Fear threat is permanently increased by 1, and the person's getting the coward trait. So we have an ailment. By the time we're able to deal with someone who's stunned, this stun will go away, so we're not going to be worried too much about it. And cowards are more likely to be hit with certain events. And it's bringing up those things you can do to cure your ailments. By the time we can develop a cure to stun, the stun will wear off. So we're just going to basically ignore the fact that they're stunned, just accept we're down 1 pip for 3 turns. Memory retrieved, research, community. Okay. So we'll pop in here. Community is, of course, the last of the 5 trees. Most importantly, has the building that makes hope, which we're going to need. I'm going to be a little greedy. We're going to put that off for 2 more turns. So I might have a little bit of problems with generating enough hope. Hopefully not. Okay, so took the person who's farming, was gathering berries. So we'll put the person back on gathering berries. So that means we're down a person right now. Yeah. Take people off of making water and seeds. I do want to plant more tomatoes, but that's not a rush job. Let's go ahead and get another villager in the queue to grow. You probably have enough wood. Let's take the woodcutter off. One way to deal with the fact that I'm going to be a bit greedy with science is I'm going to do another Thinker's Post to get some more science going. The good old-fashioned double your science, right, to make up for the fact that you want all the sciences. And the audio's back for whatever reason. That's a little out of my end. That might be fine on your end. So we've got 2 villagers. I've just doubled the science. I still don't think we necessarily need the wood. I'm going to get another house under construction, so we can keep our population growing. And let's, I'm going to continue trying to expand towards the rest of the berries here, which is more signposts. And there's a couple up there as well. And once those berries are done, we will definitely be wanting the tomato fields for tomatoes. Hips can perform some tasks on some terrains. So So, bringing up the fact that we can now till the soil. We're going to go, of course, soil unlocked. Some more research, in particular the Bailey field and the hemp field, which are more advanced crops. Noticeably, you'll see that the pip there has like a tool in his hand. To train the pip in that job, you need a tool. We don't have tool production right now, so we don't want to rush down to these techs yet. Herb picker would be tempting, but I think before it becomes a problem, we want to get ahead of the fear by developing a hope building. So that, and their current research rate will be done in 2 turns. And her stun pop should recover fairly soon. So we should get a worker back that way. Gonna start on another cabin. Gonna start on getting some more people. Although that is gonna bring the food over 8, which means we're gonna have to basically probably gonna want like 3 people in food instead of 2 people in food. Again, not an emergency concern. Though food is something we will want to get ahead of eventually, instead of just treading water on. At least in my experience. There's the meeting post. That probably unlocked more in the tree. It did. So in addition to the meeting post, we can now start research on the shared table. With instead of being 2 pips to make 1 hope, or 2 if it's next to a dwelling, is 2 pips, 1 food, 1 water to make 3 or 5 within 2 of a social building. And we're going to build a meeting post. Meeting post is a social building, so we should probably be able to get that 5. So that's obviously going to be more worker efficient. It's going to be 2.5 hope per worker instead of 2. And that's 2 total, so 2.5 per worker instead of 1 per worker. So improvement there. And then this is a way to treat a condition we don't have, so we're not too worried about that condition yet. I'm going to go ahead and start researching the shared table as well. Let's get our first hope building built. Let's build that there. Okay. It moved, that's fine. I'm going through my wood a little bit fast, but I think we'll be fine. We just need to remember to put someone on wood to get some wood before we run out. And we're going to continue expanding our area until we get a hold of all the easily accessible food deposits. So that's going to get picked up at this one. We'll be able to pick that one up at this one, and then that one in a couple turns afterwards. Oh, and there's one over there as well. Oh, and our tomato field is done. So I should plow the area underneath it so we can get 6 food a turn from it, and then start farming the tomato. Obviously, you harvest it over 5 turns, and then you have to spend 5 turns waiting for it to plant. So we're going to need more than 1 field of it. I see an unknown event coming upon us. The vision is confusing, but there is hope. We can fight it. So when it comes to this event, this upcoming event, it's an unknown event. It's actually not necessarily always going to be unknown for you. If you have suffered the event before, it will instead tell you what the upcoming event is. Now, this is the unknown bad event. So, if you're really good at the game, and you never suffer any of the bad events, it'll always be an unknown event. If it is an unknown bad event that you've had before, it'll tell you what the event is. Otherwise, it will leave it a mystery until you've experienced the mystery, let's say. So you can see here, now that there is an active event in the future, so there's an active fear event, threat of fear has awakened. So fear is rising 1 per turn. So if we do nothing, the odds that we get the bad event is going to increase from 50-50 to 38%. We probably want it to be a good event, so we could assign 2 people to our hope building here, which would then increase our hope by 2. That'd be a net gain of 1 in the other direction, so instead of it being 50-50, the odds of getting the bad event would go down. The odds of the good event would go up to 63%. And this would increment up every turn. So that alone, just 2 people working on hope, is probably enough to stave off this first bad event. Of course, that's going to be eating 2 workers, all the worker actions for 5 turns, which we can accept. We're not that strained for resources yet. We're gonna get some more pips, because more people equal more problems, but they also equal more ways to solve those problems, is the department we're in right now. And we've got 9 turns before the current berries that we've got access to down here out. We've got 1 up there. There's another 4 more, another 3 more that we haven't got access to yet, but we can add to the list. Although we are eating quicker than we are consuming. Of course, the tomatoes will help with that. So new resource discovered because we've harvested fear for the first time. Actually surprised that it hasn't said that we harvested hope as well, but yeah, we want someone to go ahead and till the soil underneath the tomatoes. That only takes a turn, although that is eating more wood. I'm probably low enough on wood that I should really put someone on wood in production. And then hopefully one of our pips will grow, although that's 2 turns out. Yeah, that'll be fine. I can always take someone off of research if I'm really, really worried about the construction slowing down. We've now unlocked the shared table. Now, normally this would unlock the ability to research the next thing down in that tier, in that line, although you can see this game is also telling us, hey, to not get ahead of your horses, this stuff down here, you're going to want paved clearings, you're going to want basic tools, you're going to want stones. It's forcing us to research those things before we go any further down the tree. Which it's not wrong about that. We probably want those resources. Might take a detour and pick up a retreat. Yeah, let's work on improving science rate without having to contribute more workers to science. And then I do want to get some food other than berries going, so let's get someone on the tomatoes. So that will provide us 6 tomatoes for 5 turns, as long as we leave work on it for 5 turns, which is more food than we need. But then we're going to be out of tomatoes for 5 turns, so hopefully get another worker freed up before then. You can also kind of see when it comes to the pips consuming food, they consume food that all your food stockpiles are roughly equal, so they'll run out at the same rate. So we're making 7 berries, so 16 berries. We're making 6 tomatoes, which are 12 tomatoes. So it's going to eat off of them, so they're about the same level. So that would be 9 berries and 9 tomatoes, for example. That's why it's doing that balance there. We freed up a worker from the pip growing up, I think. Yeah. The other one's still growing for 2 turns. Do I want to till or get more berries? Let's get more berries going for the moment. So let's continue signposting. This is normal difficulty on the first run. So it may be a gap between the first unknown event and the second one. So I think we're at the point where, yeah, so we need these guys on to get the good event. Oh, have a guaranteed getting a good event, right? If you don't have them on, we've got 88% chance good, 12% chance bad. Technically, putting 2 of these guys on here, I think we only really need 1 more hope for the protection here. It's probably overkill if you're min-maxing. But I am not a gambler. We're not going to gamble on the 12%. We're going to take the guaranteed 100% chance of a good event. Although we maybe don't need hope immediately afterwards. So we can probably take those guys off of hope production. So we have a 100% chance of a good event, so it doesn't do our dice roll. If you did not have a guaranteed good event, you'd roll off effectively in game terms to figure out which event you get. So the good event we got, which is the pip that was going to become an adult, next turn becomes an adult next turn. Yeah, the game didn't give us a particularly good event. It did not give us a bad event, and that's kind of the more important thing. Nothing bad happened. Good events. When an unknown prophecy is influenced enough protection, the event that occurs will be a good event. Good events have beneficial effects such as increasing your resources, creating beneficial connections to your pips, or even giving permanent bonuses to your buildings. And we had a good event, because I was able to prevent the bad event. Training, pips can train to do new professions. It's telling us upgraded building, yeah. Retreat, which is just what we researched. This is the upgraded to the building. So, unspecialized pop makes 1 science. The upgraded building is a specialized pop. Doesn't require tools, though. Makes 2 science. And the upgrading building is 3. So we probably want to just go all the way down to the end if we can. And that's what we'll work on. So we got 2 free pips. I'm going to go to trying to get more pips. More hands means more ways to deal with problems. Randomly went up and used that one instead of that one, but that's fine. And then, I don't want to take science completely offline, but let's start upgrading these one at a time. So I'm going to start upgrading you. So it's going to take 1 turn and 5 wood to upgrade the sort of science table here, from the tier 1 building to the tier 2 building. And then we'll have to have him spend a turn training up in the new profession as well. And then he can do science at the new building. And then we'll probably do the same to the other one, doubling our science research. And then probably soon after that we'll have the tier 3 version available, so we can pick up the tier 3 version of it. Oh, and I've left the people on hope for the moment. It's not necessary that you start getting these filled back up again. I like to be at a state where your odds of a good event, if you were to keep the fear and hope equal, is 100%. Because then you just have to meet the rate that is increasing. Right now, that would be 1 if it was active. Currently isn't. It's currently asleep. So we definitely don't need to be generating any more hope. When the next fear event comes up, I believe it will be the Doom one. The Doom will be probably +3 fear a day instead of +1, so we'll need more hope production by then. But obviously, then we don't want to be in deficit at that point. We'd rather ideally be ahead, and then we can be focusing on just trying to make the 3. Okay, so we need someone to train there in that profession, and let's go ahead and make the last pip to go in that house, and then we'll have full housing for 12 people. And I'm going to have to plant more tomatoes. Arguably, I should have probably already planted the tomatoes, but a little bit late for that. So there will be a couple days here. Well, there will be 6 days here, let's say. No, 5. There'll be 5 days here where I'm not growing any. I don't have any tomatoes to harvest because we didn't plant them soon enough. Why don't you get a job? That was the worker who, was working on the field, and the field's empty. We need seeds and water to reseed the field, which we want to do. We're going to start upgrading the other research location. Anyhow, right now we're eating more than we're producing, so we don't want that to be a continuing situation. And the berries obviously aren't going to last forever. If the berries are a spring-only thing... Oh no, these berries are spring-summer. So they'll actually refill when we go into summer. So the big advantage of the tomatoes right now is the tomatoes are twice as worker efficient. We get 6 tomatoes in a properly prepared field instead of 4 berries. So that will be grown in 4 turns. I'm actually going to start on these ones with the tilled soil. We had 2 workers, so I'm starting with 2 more tilled soils. Next turn we'll plant 2 things of tomatoes. We'll do tilled soil there, and another thing of tomatoes, and then we'll go back to trying to get access to our berries. Oh, actually, I need one of those workers back. Thank you. You're supposed to be running that job. I thought it was one of the little pips. But the next one's in 2 turns. Getting ahead of myself. So now I should have 2 free pips. Oh, and I can take the guys off of full production. Free up even more pips to get us some more tech stuff going on. I can feel it in my bones. The next season is coming upon us. Get ready for it. The heat domain. So the heat... Yeah, heat domain is probably the best way to describe it. So obviously we are in spring. We're going to go into summer. So the spring will end and the summer will occur. During spring and summer, you have to be worried about the world being, too hot. So you defend against the weather events with cold, and the weather events will be bad and they'll be generating heat. That actually flips during autumn and winter, where you're more concerned about it being too cold, and you need to generate heat to keep the people warm. We're not immediately in a... Same sort of thing with the fear. We're probably not immediately in a rush to having to deal with that. And this is also the omen. The omen isn't avoidable. We want to avoid the unforeseen event, which will occur right after the season change. So So we can definitely wait one more turn, complete the secluded retreat, and then we can come over into community and start on the puddle. In this case, for cooling. In winter, we'll be doing the bonfire, so burn wood to keep people warm. Okay, so we're taking the person off of making hope, because I don't think we need any for the moment. Let's get 2 tomato fields down. Let's till another soil. And the pond is going to require... or is going to want to be next to a water maker as well, so I should really make another well. Because the well right now is our water maker. Even if we're not going to operate the second well. I want it for adjacency reasons. So there's the secluded retreat. I might actually be a bit low on wood to get those built real quickly. Because I think the puddles are going to be a little bit more of a rush job. We're going to start researching the puddles. Let's get the last of those 4 tomato fields down. And then I want to get access to that berry, which is going to be signposts. I don't have any nice areas that are 3 adjacency on the forest. Only examples I think I got are 2. Now that's not too bad. I think we're going to go ahead and get another lumber maker going, another wood pile. The initial wood pile here doesn't have any adjacency effect. Well, needs to be adjacent. Doesn't get any bonuses for being adjacent to extras. One of the higher tier ones probably will be. I still have a spare person. The spare person probably wants to be really working tomatoes, but not grown until next turn. So I think we gotta go on to berries for the turn, yeah. So what I think I'll do is I think I'll play out what's left of the season, and we'll put the part break at the end of the season here. So we've got our puddle researched, we got our second well, which I don't really want worked at the moment. Obviously, the puddle has unlocked the upgraded version of it, which is the pond. +1 if water makers within 1. The upgrade is +2 if water makers within 1, although it does eat twice as much water. So in this case, this is just improving worker efficiency. You go from 1 worker uses 1 water to make, in our case, because we'll be smart and we'll put it next to the water maker, 1 worker uses 1 water to make 2 cold, to 1 worker, although a specialist this time, uses 2 water to make 4 cold. We probably don't need the pond yet. And we're not ready for the specialist down there, or the specialist with tools jobs, yeah. No, and I think I can delay wood stack, which is the upgraded to the wood pile. Let's work on trying to get the hunting tents going. Okay, so we want someone on the tomatoes. So with the tomatoes and 2 berry bushes going, we actually make enough food. We've got plenty of wood coming in. Let's get what probably needs to be the last signpost down to get access to all the important resources. Well, yeah, access to all the important resources. Not too worried about access to the chickens yet. Which arguably leaves me with a spare person. Oh, I should build the pond. Before I forget, build the pond. So we've invented the concept of hunting. I'm going to take the... Right now I think we've got 3 on berries. I'm going to take one of them off berries. And we're going to start setting up some hunting posts. So you can see it, the initially on the hunting, it looks really bad. You got one worker who takes 3 actions to make 3 food. And a worker eats a food a turn, so the worker would be literally resource 0. This is one of the reasons we didn't go running for hunting right at the beginning. The early hunting is not super strong, although when we pop into the tree here, we've got the barbecue. So, whereas the hunter makes 3 food every 3 turns, that is raw food, and you can cook raw food. In this case, if you cook raw food, you get 2 food for the cost of 1 wood, 1 raw food. But that gets +3 if next to a dwelling, or within 2 of a dwelling, +2 within 2 of hunting. So we're going to want to sort of make that arrangement where we can get a barbecue going and really crank out some really nice returns on barbecuing effectively. That also tells me I probably want housing within 2 of someplace or within 4 of someplace I'm hunting. So hunting here is not close enough to my existing housing. Hunting over there won't be close enough. So I probably actually want to build a house somewhere. Like there? Yeah, like there. Let's get another house going. Again, I would like to do improvements on the research. I don't got the wood. That's the problem there. So we pulled back a little bit on making berries. So we have workers to do other things. Although there's maybe an argument not to pull back on berries right now. Yeah, there's actually a really strong argument not to pull back on berries right now. I don't need the water production, so pull you off. And the reason I'm thinking to not pull back on berries, this is min-maxing sort of thing. The season's about to end. When the season ends, things that were seasonal but not planted, like these berry bushes, lose all their current food piles. So the 2 here is going to disappear, the 3 there is going to disappear, the 5 here is going to disappear. And there was going to run out anyway. At the end of the season. And if it's a new season where it's planted, they get a refresh. Full refresh, new 5 deposits. So basically it's use it or lose it here with what's left of the food. That's what I'm just realizing I should probably put everyone get all the food out we can of these berry bushes. Of course, that means our people are going to mostly be eating berries, but that's fine. And of course, one of those berry bushes was set to run out this turn. That will run out... Well, the season will change before that one runs out. This one runs out this turn, but the season's going to change. That one we're not going to get very much out of, but that's fine. So we got 1 spare worker working on the house to go with the hunter, working the hunter there. Do you want to grab another hunter? Let's just grab a second hunter. Probably don't need it this early, but we'll get it set up. then we can click End Turn and have the season change. So summer has arrived. Seasonal threat set to 1+ year. And obviously it's the first year. We haven't had time for it to snow yet. But obviously when summer arrives, all the snow left over from winter goes poof. That wasn't going to be a problem for us, but it's gone anyway. So here be summer. We're going to get a season change event, I believe. Sort of like the Omens. I see an unknown event coming upon us. Oh, no, we might not be getting it. It might just be the season change. Unknown event coming upon us. The vision is confusing, but there is hope. We can fight it by chilling it next to the pond, apparently. And we've invented the concept of a barbecue. So this is where we're going to go ahead and put a part break in. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a part up tomorrow. If everything goes according to plan, the part up tomorrow will be the summer. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break just to stretch the legs a little bit and maybe try to get the ad break out of the way if we're coming up on an ad break. So until the next part, I'm going to head and wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.